I'm going to show you first how many people lose their gold panning. And most of them were taught wrong, so they don't know any difference. I'm a prospector. I've been prospecting for many years.
And not only that, though, tell me where everybody has seen you before.
My name is Woody Wampler. I've been prospecting since 1970. I was one of the cast on Legend of the Superstition Mountains, where we went back in the Superstition Mountains to look for the Lost Dutchman mine. Had a lot to do with the Peraltas, the Jesuits, Dutchmen, the stone maps. Look it up on YouTube and you'll see us on the Legend of the Superstition Mountains. Okay?
Yeah, check them out. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to show you first how many people lose their gold panning. And most of them were taught wrong, so they don't know any difference. One of the worst things you can do with a pan with gold and dirt in it is to sit here and go in circles like this. When you do this in the circles like this, you bring the gold to the back of the pan, and when you start working it down, the gold walks right on out of the pan. So that's one of the biggest no-nos is to sit here and do it in circles. Another big no-no is to sit here and flip your pan like this. If you sit there and flip it, you're going to flip your gold right out of the pan. Or if you sit here and go like this, you're going to walk your gold right out of the pan. This is called a blue-gray bounce. You only do that when you have a tiny little bit of black sand in the pan that you're trying to separate the gold from. And when we get down to that point, I'll mention it again and show you why. So, these are some of the things you don't do. The proper way, I feel, is to tip your pan down, stir it up really good, shake it down. Some of the stuff's going to come off the top of the pan. Your light stuff, your clay, silt, stuff like that, there's no gold in it, so you don't have to worry about it. You shake it up real good, get it down here on the bottom, at that bottom ripple. And then you pick it up. It's a lot lighter on top of the water like this to shake it than it is up here holding the weight up. So a 5-year-old or a 65-year-old can do the same thing. It's not hard. Same pan, same 5-year-old or 65-year-old, either one can do it. So you shake it sideways. You want the gold to get down on that bottom ripple and keep it there. And what I tell everybody to do is to pretend like there's a rod between here and here to where the pan can't move around. So that the pan actually, you start rolling back and forth like this, and you see the material going like this, and then you start picking it up until the material starts leaving the pan. And then you hold it there, and you go nice and smooth, let the water do the work. You're working it out of the pan, you're not pouring it out. It starts to lock up on you. You tip it back a little bit. You give it a shake. You don't need to bring it all the way back. Just enough where nothing leaves the pan. You give it a good shake. And then you start rolling it back and forth again. It's really easy. If a hand hurts, you're not doing it right. It takes 2 fingers. I can sit here with 2 fingers and a thumb and just roll this so easy on here when I'm panning. Give it a shake. When I shake it, I hold this thing still and shake that end of it. Because what I'm doing is I'm concentrating the gold down like this. If I grab both sides of this and I start shaking the herd like this, I throw the gold out of the pan. I throw it to the outside edges. And I don't want it there. I want it right here in the middle. So I don't shake it like this. I shake it like this. Makes a lot of difference. And then I just roll it back and forth again. The pan sitting on top of the water again, like I said, is very light. You never take your pan out of the water. This is the way I teach. It's not the way I pan, but it's the way I teach. The way I pan is quite different. Maybe you take a movie of that too, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm down to almost nothing here. Again, when we start getting rid of this material, if you go straight back and forth like this, the material just goes back and forth. If you start flipping it, you're going to walk your gold out. If you start doing this, you're going to walk your gold out. The proper way to do this, come around this side a little bit, is to take your pan and go straight up and down like this, and you're working the very top layers of it off. It's going in one direction. See how easy that is? It's going in one direction. You tip it back, Give it a little shake to get the blonde sand back up. This is what we're trying to get rid of as we're getting some of the black sand down. I do it about 3 times. I tip it back and I give it a shake. I tip it back and give it a shake. Take it right on down. Okay, now, a while ago I was telling you about the blueberry bounce, which is a really good thing, but there's a time to use it and a time not to use it. If you got all your black sand, can you see the black sand in here?
Yeah.
If you get all this black sand in here and you start doing this, what happens is you make the gold come up to the top, and you don't want it there. You want it on the bottom of the pan. So that's a big no-no. You shake it like this and get it ready. Now, what I do, I'm going to turn it around so you can see a little bit easier. I don't go in, again, I don't go in circles. I never take my pan into circles. I just roll it down like this, halfway, and I take it straight down. There are millions of people that cannot separate the black sand from the gold. We might move outside where I can see what I'm doing. But you can see how the material, the black sand's going down.
Yeah.
See the gold over here in the corner?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's locking up on me a little bit hard for the black sand to come out. So what I do at that point is I just give it a little bit of shake. I tilt it down, get the gold back down again, and then I flatten it out a little bit like this. Okay, can you see these heavies here?
Yeah.
I just drag them halfway across the board. I'm not worrying about the gold. I'm just dragging any of them that I find halfway across the board down to here. And then I just roll it around and I take it down. You see the heavies going, but the gold's still there.
Yeah.
So the gold come back up here. Now I got rid of the heavies. Now I flatten it out again. There's a couple more heavies in there. I just roll it around like this and I take it down. It's hard for me to even see it. It's like I'm doing it in the blind because it's so dark in here.
Yeah.
But you can see the black sand going down. Don't do this on the creek. You do this at home. I'll give you a little hint. And this is really good for anybody that goes out on the creek. When you first pan and you get down to this point, and you see what gold you got, you take your sucky bottle and you suck up the black sand and gold, all of it. Suck it all up into the tube. Because that way when the guy comes up the creek and says to you, hey, you finding any gold? He sees you where you're digging. He says, hey, you finding any gold? You go, all that black sand, you go, oh, I think I got a little bit in there. I'm not real sure. He thinks you're an idiot and he moves right on down the road. And he's not going to come and get in your hole when you leave. That's a good point. That's a good trick. Okay, back to where you were at. I'm going to flatten it out, give it a little shake again. And see how that black sand's leaving it? Now is the time if you want to do the blueberry bounce where you can tap on it to get the gold away from the black sand. When you've only got a little bit of black sand in there, now's the time to do it. You can tap on it now and get it separated from the black sand. But you could sit here and work this down and get even the flour gold out of the black sand by just taking your time, a little bit of patience. It's an art. You just take your time and work it down. You see all the black sand leaving?
Yep.
And you can see the flour gold. I don't know if you can see it with that camera or not.
Yep, I can see it.
You can see the flour gold in it. The really, really tiny flour gold in here. They're able to separate from the black sand. Like I said, millions of people can't do this. They've never been taught. I learned everything on my own. It was very hard. But I teach and I show people this because I don't want them to make the same mistakes I make. And I'm trying to help them so when I'm gone, maybe they can tell somebody else that I told them that. Oh, one more thing. Sucky ball, it's a suck of your gold. If you're sucking up your gold and you run out of suction while you're sucking up the gold, if you squeeze out like this, you're going to throw your gold away. Always tap on it and squeeze over here in the pan to make sure no gold comes out. Because when you run out of suction, there's going to be gold in that tube if you still got gold down there. And a lot of people just go, but they don't want the soap in here.
Yeah.
So they squeeze it out here, and there goes the gold.
Yeah.
You can lose it. You can lose gold in every single piece of equipment there is if you don't know how to use it.
I agree with that.
So look for us on YouTube, Legend of the Superstition Mountains.
Yep, check them out on YouTube. And where are we at here today?
We're at the Dutch Hunters Rendezvous.
Man.
And that's where all the Dutch hunters that's been looking for the Lost Dutchman go for many, many, many years, gather up the BS and tell everybody the stories.
And I've met a lot of great people here.
Yeah, there are a lot of great people here.
There is.
Actually, there's two of my friends here that was on the TV show with me. And that's Frank and Wayne.
I'm going to ambush them here in just a minute.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Woody.
I hope it helps somebody.
That's a wrap.